Hey there, guys. This is new to the routine. You guys have gotten used to this quarantine with all of our crazy schedules, and every single day we're doing something, and it's been incredible. The devotions by you students have been inspiring and have been a refresher to my soul. But we actually want to add another new thing that we hope will be a benefit to you, and is that we're going to be doing some daily, or maybe not daily, but every couple of days a week anyways, these prayer meditations. What I mean by meditations is that I want you actually to lean in. I want you to be involved. I want you to be active with these videos. It's not just you listen and slide or listen for a few seconds and press the like button and move on. It's for you to sit here, pause for a minute, and meditate. And for this very first one, I want to give you a little bit of a context of where we're going to go and what they really are, but also a little bit of teaching to inspire you and to make you think. So maybe you're like me and there's these words in the Bible that just sit there and confuse you. And you're like, what in the world is going on? Like, why in the world are those in the Bible? Like, what is wrong with that person? Like, why are they even cool enough to be remembered forever as one of God's people? And one of those people for me is actually King Solomon, all the way back in the Old Testament. He happens to be the son of King David, and King David is a pretty historical, like, cool celebrity figure in the Old Testament. Well, this is his son. And he's also pretty incredible. Actually, if you read his story, you will find out that King Solomon is actually one of the wisest guys that's ever lived. And not only that, but he's actually the wealthiest guy, one of the wealthiest guys that's ever lived. He had way too many wives, way too many concubines, way too many of a lot of things. As wise as he was, he had a lot. And a lot of money, a lot of possessions, a lot of people, a lot of friendships, but was really messed up. And he comes to the end of his life and he writes this book called Ecclesiastes. It's in the Old Testament. I encourage you to go read it. It's actually lumped with what they call the wisdom books. And he opens up Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 2, which is one of my favorite and at the same time, oddly enough, least favorite verses. And it says this. Lean in with me. Listen to this. Meaningless. Meaningless. Everything is utterly meaningless. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 2. What a great start to a book. Have you ever jumped into a movie and it's like, whoop, death is on its way? Or like, wow, you walk into a room, you're about to take a test and you're like, yep, this is going to be an F. Mom and dad are going to be so proud tonight. That's essentially what King Solomon is saying here. Like, no matter what I do, no matter how wise I become, no matter how many more women I get in my life, no matter how much I possess or how great our kingdom is, no matter what, everything is utterly meaningless. And you probably feel that way. Maybe right now you're sitting in this space of this pure confusion because everything's going on, or you're frustrated or you're mad. And you're probably naturally, if you're like me at all, you're starting to lean into some really bad habits you already had, but now becoming more obvious, more often tempted, and you're probably leaning into them more than you've ever had before, and you're really guilty and you're really embarrassed, but you want nobody to know. Well, the Apostle Paul leans into this idea of meaningless and actually says it in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 is this: everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So there are so many things in this world that are beautiful and they're awesome and you can lean into them like King Solomon did, but then you get to the end of your life and you go, what the heck did I just do? Like, I just spent 100 years wasting my time. Maybe you're going to get to the end of this coronavirus and you're like, I just had 100 days at home. And you're going to get to the end of it and go, I didn't even get my bedroom cleaned. If you're like me, I'm like, I got my dishes cleaned last night. That's a success. So you've got all these options. You've got all these things that you can collect. And by the fact that we live in America, in a benefit and also a curse is that we have everything to us. But all that becomes meaningless if we lose its purpose. So here's the meditation I want to take you on as we start off these prayer meditations together. And that is this. I believe superficiality is the greatest curse for us today. Everything's superficial, isn't it? Because you have everything and because you can just jump to the next thing, it's the thing that was just valuable to you is no longer valuable, right? Maybe that now you know this with friendships. Now that there's a distance going on, the relationship no longer matters. And so I want you to lean into this a minute and just breathe and calm and just focus on this little prayer idea I want you to think through. And I've got some notes that I want to walk us through. If superficiality truly is the curse of our age today, oddly enough, just like it was for King Solomon and also like it was for the Apostle Paul, I want you to consider this. If you agree with me, I want you to list right now, whether it be on your phone or on a piece of paper or a sticky note or something, list several indicators of the American culture that illustrate that this is true. Broad stroke American culture. And now I want you to do this. After you get that list done, say 5 things. I want you to make that list for you. How have you been leaning into this coronavirus time, trying to find meaning, trying to find peace, trying to find purpose, trying to find just understanding of everything? How do you lean into this? How do you see that you are struggling with making things superficial? So right now, just take these words from King Solomon, one of the wisest men that ever lived. And he says later on, he actually says it in verse 12 of chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes, he says, it's almost as if my life has been chasing after the wind. Obviously, something we cannot grasp, something we cannot control. Right now, so much of our life is the wind, and it's out of control. We can't control it. And what we're really, 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 really wishing for is peace, but we're actually just filling our lives with a whole bunch of distractions. And right now, if you can lean into this idea of meditation and do it every couple of days with us, you're going to actually start inviting into your life peace that you've never known before. And that's our promise if you're willing to do it with us. So when we post these videos, when your fellow students post devotions, lean into them, because every moment you spend with God online, on Instagram, with us on YouTube, or even TikTok, whatever it is, you're actually going to invite in peace when it's not superficial. So make it real. Lean in, meditate right now. Give God 5 things that you're leaning into that you shouldn't be, and then focus on God for 5 minutes, 1 minute on each of those things, and say, God, give me a new perspective. Love you guys.